micdup.
Highlights from Lowlifes. Highlights from Lowlifes.
Hey, welcome. Thanks for joining us on Highlights from Lowlifes. The big news today is Tiger has rejoined the show after several weeks where he was lost and we couldn't find him. But he was the whole time. So,
hi, everybody.
Yeah.
Glad to be back.
We are going to stick with our baseball theme. We chose something last week. Robbie recommended it.
I did.
Since the
put him on the hook.
I'm brilliant.
The Eras Committee was doing their voting for the Hall of Fame, and local boy Jeff Kent was voted into the Hall of Fame. He was the only person that the Eras Committee let in. They passed again on all the steroid users, and me personally, I think Kent deserves it. I think as a second baseman, he is the guy who had the most home runs as a second baseman in baseball history. Good player. Had some character issues. We can talk a little bit about that later. And nobody else got in, although folks thought that Dale Murphy would have been a good pick. So, yeah, Robbie said, hey, why don't we talk about the current Hall of Fame? And I know we have strong opinions about some of the players in there. And we said, well, who doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame? We got all these guys in there, and then there's a few where you go, who decided that this was okay? And why is that guy in compared to some other folks that may be more deserving? So there's some good lists floating around on the internet, and I'm anxious to hear what you guys have your opinions about who should be removed if you had the ability to remove them.
Well, I'm surprised you didn't hear about this because they're running out of space is basically what's happening at the Hall of Fame. So just down the street and to the left is an abandoned warehouse, and they're going to make that the Hall of the Very, Very Good. So that's what we are commissioned tonight is to make the first transfer. Submit ours requests for the first transfer from the Hall of Fame to the Hall of the Very, Very Good. So that's why we're here tonight.
That's a good point. That's a good point, Marty. But there could be the other hall, the previous way of voting, and then the modern way of voting. They could separate. Mm-hmm. They could open that warehouse up for that too.
Mm-hmm. Hey, one other thing, Marty, you're talking about the Hall of the Very Good, and that argument you hear every year.
Yeah.
But then there's the kind of the characters of the game who get in there because they're in your face all the time, and I've got a few of those tonight that I want
or popular.
Yes, they're popular.
Yeah.
So let's get the show on the road. Again, thanks for joining us. If you have a question or a comment, hit the microphone at the bottom of the screen, and you'll have a 30-second countdown where you can give us a comment or a question about tonight's topic or your favorite almanac beverage, whichever one comes to mind. See, we got JC has left us a comment already. So let's get started. Hey, Marty, go for it.
Like I said, there are a lot of lists on the internet about guys who shouldn't be there and why they shouldn't be there.
And just like that, we lost Terry again.
Okay.
Got to go to the bathroom.
What do they say? Large prostate, long line.
You too?
Hey, I turned 68 this month. Holy crap. But you know what? I'm not 6'7".
Yeah. 6'7". All right. Back to Marty.
Can we hit the reset button and start all over again?
No. This
Oh, all right.
we knew this was coming. We haven't
Okay.
seen Terry in a while.
Okay, all right.
That's
there,
right.
like I said, there's the Hall of Fame is it has some great people in it, and I ran across a lot of names, and I'm just going to say it up front. Most of these guys, I have a problem being a negative toward, simply because many of them on my list tonight gave up years of their career and probably maybe even their life to serve in the Second World War. 2 seasons, 3 seasons, and that's just not asked of anybody anymore. And I'm not making judgments on current society or anything like that. But these people really do need our respect and dignity, even though we're going to go out and saying that you really shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. But that aside, the first person on my list is the one that was at the right place at the right time, was a great ball player, played for many years, 10-time All-Star and 8-time Gold Glove. Played for the Pirates from 56 to 72. But he wasn't inducted into the Hall of Fame until 2001 through the Veterans Committee. And Bill Mazeroski was a great a ball player. His stats are a little weak. Career average is under 300, 260. Do we have someone? Should we put someone in the Hall of Fame who doesn't have 1,000 RBIs in their career? He had 850, but he was at the right place at the right time in that day in 1960 when the World Series, and his shot won it for the Pirates. And I think that was more of a popular, and someone mentioned already popularity more than over statistics, and that would be Bill Mazeroski. So
Yeah.
that's my first choice.
Good one.
Terry, what do you think?
Yeah, you know what? Maz, he was my number 5 also. Well, I'm going to just move my list. I'll go with the 2019 inductee, Harold Baines. Tremendous player, actually. Right fielder, just Chicago White Sox, Orioles, many teams he played on. You can't really bring his post baseball career into it, but he was a little bit of a disappointment with his addiction. So, oh man, he had heart and liver transplants in successive days. I just see that.
Wow.
Wow.
Anyway,
Oh shoot.
but yeah, he was inducted in. I have conflicting numbers here. 2007 or 2019. He's inducted.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of the argument against him is he spent a good deal of his career as a DH. Again, you're right. He was a good player. Was he a great player? I don't know. All right, who's up, Ter?
Hey, Robbie, how about you?
All right. I'm going to go with a guy. I think he's part of the East Coast media bias, Yankee bias. Sure, he played on 7 World Series winning teams during his 13 years, but he was never the top defensive shortstop in his era. I mean, Mazeroski, you can make an argument for Mazeroski that he was the preeminent defensive second baseman, sort of redefined the position, which could justify why he's in the Hall of Fame. At least it does. It's good enough for me. So, but this guy was not necessarily the best shortstop, didn't redefine the position. He had 273 in his 13-year career, only had 15, almost just under 1,600 hits, 1,588, and 563 RBIs. He was funny, he was likable, and he had a long career as a broadcaster, but his playing career, to me, really falls short, and it's because he was a Yankee on all those great Yankee teams of the 50s. Phil Rizzuto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't see him in there as a player. And this is tough for me because I believe in the Hall of Fame and I believe in their mission. Yeah, they're going to get a few wrong, but it's tough to sit here and dog somebody that has actually contributed.
Yeah, this is actually a difficult topic.
Yep.
You had to I put a lot of work into this one, a lot of homework,
Mhm.
Yeah.
because.
Yep. What do you got, Webby?
Rizzuto was my number 5 as well.
Oh, okay.
I think what you have here is the hall, and the voters are saying, okay, let's look beyond the stats. What did he contribute to the game of baseball? And this guy basically spent his life in baseball, first as a player and then as an announcer. So when you talk about the Yankees, you're going to talk about Phil Rizzuto. I always have this issue when people say he won 7 World Series. No, he was on 7 teams that won World Series.
Right.
You could say Johnny Blanchard won 7 World Series, and he was a backup catcher. 5 All-Star games is impressive. The MVP in 1950, I think they were looking to give it to somebody on the Yankees that was the everyday spark plug, and that's why he got it. He fielded well and was a good setup man on the bases and things like that. But I'm with you, Rob. I just don't think the stats are there.
Yep.
There's guys that played long careers. I mean, I was looking at this. Marty was saying, "Hey, Mazeroski only had 850 RBIs." Well, Rizzuto was 300 RBIs away from that. And I know that wasn't his job, but still, you're looking for a guy that does virtually everything on the field. I mean, greatness is greatness. So I think maybe this one is a guy that got voted in because of his contribution to baseball in general. I have a couple more of those. So that'll close out our first round, our number 5 players. Robbie, why don't you start off the next round?
All right, I'm gonna stay right with the same theme. This is another guy that absolutely benefited from being on those great teams. He did not win 5 World Series. His teams did. He was never really the guy to carry them to a World Series. Lefty Gomez, and this one's tough because he's a local boy. He's from what Pinole, Pinole, I believe. Area guy here. He's just, he was 189 and 102, and that's back when wins and losses really did matter. A 3.34 ERA, which is good but not great. 1,468 strikeouts. And he's in there because of those Yankee years, the Yankee bias. Well, you wore the pinstripes and you had some good seasons. You must be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, that's kind of their argument they make for Don Mattingly. If he hadn't gotten hurt, he would have been the greatest of all time. Well, he got hurt. So,
and we'll never know. We'll never know because we don't give you the stats just because you were injured.
Right. And I know, but you in any of the Yankee books or stories you read, nobody ever says Lefty Gomez carried them to the pennant. And you'll see Madison Bumgarner carried the Giants to the pennant. Yamamoto carried the Dodgers to the World Series this year. These guys lift their team up and carry them on their back sometimes. And I don't ever recall anybody ever saying that about Lefty Gomez. And he's a left-handed pitcher, and Vita Blue has way better numbers and he's not in. So I think it's again the Yankee East Coast bias got Lefty Gomez in there. Seems like he was a delightful guy and very funny, but yeah, I mean, if we're going to talk about guys that are in that we were going to pull out, he'd have to be on my list.
Can I go next then?
Hey, Marty.
Okay.
Why don't you go next?
Okay, because I'm going to pick another person off those same Yankee teams that is in the Hall of Fame, and I had to look twice, but he's in there. His name is Joe Gordon. He was the second baseman on those teams. and I picked on Mazeroski as number 5, and I said he had 260. This guy's an improvement. 268 was his career batting average. And again, not 1,000 RBIs, 975, but he was on those teams with Bill Dickey and DiMaggio in the latter 37, 38, the latter years with Lou Gehrig. Lefty Gomez was on that roster. And again, I think that it was a great team. Gee, who had those great moments? We're going to pick everybody. And again, he played. Hold on, when was his last year? He played with Cleveland afterwards. In 1950, he retired. He was inducted in 2009 by the Veterans Committee. Okay, and I guess he was a great manager too, and made it into with Cleveland as a manager. And one of the funny things, he was even the manager for the Sacramento Solons in 51 and 52. So, but few little details like that. But again, we're moving him down the hall. He was very, very good, but he's moving down the hall. So yeah, for that same Yankee bias that you guys talked about earlier.
Right.
Yeah. Robbie. Rob, excuse me. Webby.
Okay. I'm going to go back to the well with the same type of player as Rizzuto. Lou Boudreau.
Yeah.
Boudreau was an anomaly. He was a player manager, which you don't see too much anymore. And
you don't see that ever at all anymore.
Yeah. You see some pretty good stats for him. He did bat 295 in his career. And he helped build the Cleveland Indians teams that were successful in the late 1940s. And in fact, 1948, when the Indians won the World Series, he won the MVP. He hit 355 with 18 homers and 106 RBIs. Wasn't really a power hitter, and didn't really have any other seasons that equated to that. So, for example, we talked about Mazeroski again with his 850 RBIs. Even though Boudreau had 106 in 1948, he did not reach 800 RBIs. So I think here the vote, and he was elected in 1970, the vote was for a man who brought a uniqueness to the game. The player manager that was an MVP for a World Series team at the same time that he was managing the team. I don't think we'll ever see anything like that again. So I think that's why he's in. But stats-wise, he's a bit lacking. I grew up listening to him on the radio too. He was one of the Cubs announcers, and he was not a great announcer. I'm sure that doesn't have much to do with this. But all right, Tara, what do you got for your number 4 pick?
Let's go with the 2006 inductee. He played for the Indians. He's mostly famous for playing with the Indians in the late 80s into 2000s. Albert Bell, kind of not a great teammate, but he's a great player. 5-time All-Star, 5-time Silver Slugger Award, 1995 American League home run leader. But he had a little corked bat drama, and he had a little bit of addiction problem. In 1990, the Indians sent him to the Cleveland Clinic for 2 months for alcoholism rehab, and then he was suspended in 1994 for using a corked bat. 7-game suspension, and then it turned into his teammates trying to cover for him. The incident gained further notoriety when teammate Jason Grimsley crawled through the building's ceiling panels to break into the locked umpire's dressing room, where he replaced Bell's cork bat with a teammate's bat. Not so good. Oh, you'd be naive to suggest otherwise that all of Albert's bats were corked. Well, anyway, he's kind of a hothead. He turned the thermostat down to 0 and then busted the thermostat. And then his nickname was Mr. Freeze after that. $10,000 fine from the clubhouse. They tolerated his behavior only because he was an awesome slugger.
Yeah.
So I mean, if a lot of times we see these guys with just phenomenal athletes, but their character is questionable.
Yep.
And that's my number 4.
All right. Thank God we're to a portion of the show where we can, imbibe alcohol. Right, Rob?
Well, it is my favorite part of the show. Segment we like to call "What You Drinking," and 118 episodes, 119, somewhere in there, 100 something and teenish. We have been sponsored every episode so far by our friends at Almanac. Almanac Beer Company in Alameda, California, one of America's really, truly great craft brewers. And we each take turns drinking different beers and talking about them on this part of the show. And I went back to the Hugs Hefeweizen. I was actually talking to the guys from Almanac recently, and this thing has really spiked, and it won a big award at a Hefeweizen festival in Europe.
Oh wow! Good for
Yeah,
them.
everybody over there swore it was German, and it turned out it was an American style Hefeweizen. Because hey, our Hefeweizens get that weird chalky feeling. They
Right.
feel very filling, and a lot of brands put an orange slice on there to hide the bad flavors. So this is what Hefeweizen's supposed to taste like. If you're not going to buy a real German Hefeweizen, but you want that kind of flavor, this is the Hugs. What you guys drinking?
Hey, I'm drinking the Almanac Future is Fluid.
Yes.
If I had my glasses on, I could read you the can. Here, let me just endorse it this way.
Ringing endorsement.
Oh, this is really good. How about you, Marty?
Yeah, I pulled one out of there that I haven't used in a while, but it is once again Almanac does a great job and bowls me over with. And tonight it's the Seaside. It's a West Coast IPA, and I said before I don't like IPAs, but every time I taste a Almanac beer, I'm eating words, which I should be getting used to by now, because this is a real nice, easy flowing beer. It's got that nice IPA flavor up front, but it's not heavy going down, and so it passes all I need. So it's a good beer. It's the Seaside is what I'm drinking tonight. See, what do you got, Webby?
I've been waiting all day for this.
Today is a sad day.
Not my drinking. All right, go ahead. Okay, I got it.
I have found the last plum sour in the back of my refrigerator. There are no more plum sours. I am drinking the Almanac Sparkling Sour Nova Plum. And because I don't have my glasses on either, I'm going to guess that it says fruity, refreshing, and tart at the top. So, again, since you've probably watched this show, you know that I'm not a huge sour fan, but I did espouse this as a sour that most of you would like if you are on the sour side of the fence. I think the pyramid at my local grocery store has 6 or 7 different sours. and this one appears to be their most popular. So I'm polishing off this can tonight.
Hey
And
Robbie,
then there will be no more sours.
where do you where can you get Almanac beer?
Well, at any of your favorite retailers, generally around the Bay Area. And for those of you that live out of the area and can't find it in your state, let's say you're in Missouri randomly, you can actually have your local favorite liquor store order it for you, or you can order directly from Almanac yourself. So,
Oh,
if you have a chance,
where's the Almanac Brew Co?
Well, I was just about to get to that. The
Oh.
Almanac Adventureland is located in Alameda, California. If you're visiting or planning a trip to come out this way, or maybe it's the reason you plan a trip to come out to the Bay Area, getting over to the Almanac Adventureland is great. It's family-friendly, kid-friendly, dog-friendly. There's great areas outside for seating. There's great areas inside for seating. The staff there is super knowledgeable, and they might even be able to sneak you on a little tour. But they are, it's just outstanding beers, always full flavor, always fresh. And we love them and happy to be part of them. So if you do visit there, be sure to tell the bartender you heard about them from the Highlights from Lowlife show, and they may take pity upon you.
Way to go.
All right.
Way to go, Segway Killer.
We are moving on to round 3. Terry
Why
finished
did-
round 4.
Why did
So
we
who's
invite him
next,
back?
Terry?
Why did we invite him back?
I what does that mean? I feed him with a line and he shuts it down.
Yes. We understand. Okay, Tara, who starts off the next round?
Oh, Marty, why don't you go next?
Okay, thanks. I will do. Again, and this. I found this guy digging around in all the statistics, and again, I'm going to say up front that I'm my hat's off to him because he did take 2 years of his career and served in the armed forces during World War II. But do you know there's a pitcher in the Hall of Fame who statistically has more walks than strikeouts?
Who's that?
His name is Ted Lyons.
Yep.
He pitched for the White Sox from 1923 to 1942. Again, was gone for 43, 44, 45. Pitched one more year for the White Sox in 46. He pitched a no-hitter in 26, August 21st, 1926. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame 10 years later in 1955. And you say, well, how could we get a guy that has more walks than strikeouts into the Hall of Fame? Well, he did have a couple of great seasons. In that 1927, he had 30 complete games, 307 innings pitched. He did it again in 1930, 29 complete games, 297 innings pitched. But his career win-loss? Well, he won more than he lost. He won 260. He won 260 and lost 230. Only a 30-game difference. And he's in the Hall of Fame. Now, again, he gave up part of his career for the service. Had a couple of outstanding years. But is that enough to get you into the Hall? Moving down the street. Hall of very, very good. Ted Lyons.
Oh, you're saying he should be in the underwhelming Hall of Fame?
No, not underwhelming. Like I said, they're Hall of very, very good. He's very good.
Same difference. Hall of very, very good.
Very good, but not the Hall of Fame.
Or maybe the Hall of the Whelming.
Whelming.
He's not underwhelming, but he's certainly not overwhelming. So
True.
Yes, he's
just whelming.
He's simply whelming.
Yeah.
After a line like that, you got it. Take it. Take it.
And Marty, who was that again?
Hey, his name is Ted Lyons.
Ted Lyons. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep, I had him on my list too. But I'm going to go back to New York. This time it's not a Yankee, however. This time it's a Dodger. This guy will always have a place in history, Pee Wee Reese, as the guy that stood in front of a large hostile crowd and put his arm around Jackie Robinson to accept him as a teammate. And, there could be nothing greater than that he ever did. If he never swung a bat, if that was his only moment in the big leagues, it would have that would have been a defining moment for him. But a lot like Phil Rizzuto, he was, again, Marty's term, he was very good or whelming, but not exceptional. 269 batting average. He had 2,100 hits, almost 2,200 hits. But he was considered a good defensive shortstop and never ranked among the greatest of his era. He played on some teams that were really loved in Brooklyn. And again, I think that media bias for those in New York really had an effect on the fact that Pee Wee Reese is in the Hall of Fame. You just break him down by the numbers. It's not even whelming. Webby?
Well, once again, you have chosen my player, Pee Wee Reese.
Yeah, my list is getting shorter and shorter.
I've got lots of candidates, but I wanted to build on what Rob said about Pee Wee Reese.
Please.
This is a great man. Let's not get it wrong. I think there's a huge history around Pee Wee Reese and the Dodgers and what he did for baseball. He was on a lot of these great Dodger teams, and the veterans said this is a man of great character who was the linchpin for a team for quite some time. And it feels like I'm piling on the shortstops because this is my third shortstop in a row. Reese was considered to be an above average fielder. But to your point, the offensive numbers just aren't there. Greatness, no. I mean, I'm looking at him, I'm going, this is Bill Russell. Is Bill Russell a bad player? No. Should Bill Russell be in the Hall of Fame? Absolutely not. So what's the difference between these two players? Maybe I think it's the notoriety that Reese got for standing up and accepting Jackie Robinson. People said this is a great man. So I think that's why he's there.
Yep.
Right. Terry, you need to do a pick in this round?
Yeah, I'm going to cut into my honorable mentions twice now. and this is a former shortstop, middle infielder, like Pee Wee Reese, has a very cute nickname, and Robbie's just gonna hate me for this one, but it's good old Robert Moranville. Inducted in 1954 with a career on-base percentage of 82.
What?
Played with the Boston Braves. Although he was like a clown on the team. He's showing off how to slide on stage and slid into the pit, broke his leg. He did fight in the Great War. And whelming. He was just whelming.
I was prepared for this.
Miranda.
And I am ready to present.
Unfortunately, he's on many of these lists. And I did narrow it down. Like I said, he's on my honorable mention just because of your familiarity with him, and you love him. But he was whelming.
I was prepared for this, and here's my defense. He's 81st all time of the tens of thousands of players who have played in the major leagues. He's 81st all time in hits with 2,605, putting him ahead of Reggie Jackson, Richie Ashburn, Ernie Banks.
And this was in the dead ball era, right?
Joe Morgan, Fred McGriff, David Ortiz. I could go on. But the big thing for me is, and like the same argument I would make for Maz being in the Hall of Fame because he redefined a position. Rabbit Moranville had 5,139 putouts at shortstop in his career. Nobody else is even close. By comparison, Ozzie Smith, who was also in because he was a defensive whiz and mastered the position better than anybody from his era, he only had 4,249 putouts in 19 seasons. Rabbit Moranville, 5,139 over 19 years, using the crappy gloves on the crappy fields.
And a
But,
crappy ball at the time.
yeah, exactly.
Well, dead ball era, I think they call it, right?
So I think it's important that the Hall of Fame recognize guys with defensive excellence, and Moranville was one. Ozzie, even though I don't like him, Ozzie Smith was one. Ray Schalk, the catcher, Luis Aparicio, and Mazeroski. I mean, all those guys are their entire reputation was built on defense, and
right.
it's important. That's half the game. So there's my defense of Rabbit Moranville.
And everybody that you just mentioned is on those lists.
Yeah, because people undervalue defense. But if somebody is going to excel to the level these guys did, they've got to be recognized.
Ozzie Smith, I mean, we love him because he was a real character in the game, and he's a beautiful player and had the beautiful rhythm at shortstop, but he was whelming. I'm not bringing him up because I don't want Hootits to get on my back too. Not going to mention any names, but his initials are Frank Weissauer.
And the phones
All
go
right.
off the hook.
Okay, we finished round 3, and that was a very cool to have that back and forth there. Tara, who starts off the next round?
I think Rob Webby, you should start it off.
All right. I'm going to name a player that I've never heard of. So I looked him up, and I was not impressed. Elmer Flick.
Oh.
Yep.
Yes, Elmer played a long, long time ago in the dead ball era, from 1898 to 1910. So not a very long career. He was with the Phillies, the Philadelphia Athletics, and the Cleveland Broncos and Naps, as they were called at the time. And he batted .313, which is great.
Okay.
He drove in 756 runs.
All right.
With 1,750 career hits. He had 48 home runs in the dead ball era. And I guess the thing that stands out, 330 stolen bases. But this is a short career for a Hall of Famer. He went in via the Veterans Committee in 1963. And I would challenge most baseball fans to tell me who Elmer Flick is. And he's in the Hall of Fame. I'm not seeing anything here that would even get him into the Hall of sort of fame, the good fame.
Very, very good.
The Hall of very good.
The Hall of Whelming.
Yeah, we've watched many baseball players, outfielders like Flick over the years, who have put up similar stats. Why aren't they in? I mean, if we're going to let Elmer Flick in, there's about 500 other guys that are just as good as this. So he's my number 2 pick. That's a guy that I would, if you removed him, nobody would notice. All right, Marty, what do you got?
1 second, please. I have a guy. Again, we talked about guys being selected because they played with great teams or they got things they did around the entirety of baseball, even around their playing careers. And one that came across and I in an article, and I looked it up and dang, it was right. And he's not a real big name, but we would all know it because we've been to the hall and we're students of the game. Joe Midwick,
Oh, Ducky.
Ducky, yeah. He played for 23 seasons, majority of them with St. Louis Cardinals and then with the St. Louis Browns in the early 40s. And but this guy, he's in the hall for just statistically 3 seasons in a 23-year career. Now, but in the 3 years that he was in, and then they quote 1936 through 38, in 3 seasons, he hit 167 home runs.
Wow.
The total for his career was 205. He had 1,300 RBIs, of which 700 are in those 3 seasons. So he was a madman. His average for those 3 seasons were 351, 374 in 27, which led the league, and then 322. But then he played 39 and throughout the 40s and retired in 48, and only hit 300 3 more times with a minimum of 100 at bats. And he's in the Hall of Fame. Now, I'm not saying that does not take away from what this guy did and what he accomplished, but he did it all in 3 years, 8 years before he retired.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
I can see it.
So that's why I put him as a number 2, because I said I'm not saying he's not deserving, but it truly is. All he had was 3 big years, and then he was an average ball player for the other 20.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Anyway, all right. What do you think, Robbie? What do you take number 2?
All right, I'm going to go. It would have been my number 1, but I have a feeling one of you guys are going to try to steal it, so I'm going to put him at my number 2 slot. Candy Cummings. Candy Cummings played 2 seasons in Major League Baseball. His lifetime record as a pitcher was 21 wins and 22 losses. His only notable feature is that he invented the curveball, which I can only assume is why he is in the Hall of Fame. But using that justification, then Fred Martin, who invented the split finger fastball, ought to be in the Hall of Fame, but he isn't. So that just blows the whole thing up. Candy Cummings, see you later.
How about Wilhelm?
Who's the player that
knuckleball?
Yeah,
who's that
he's
guy?
in though.
Yeah,
he's in also.
Yeah,
Pretty
And
much.
Wilhelm.
Chief Bender threw the slider, and he's in. But Fred Martin for the split finger fastball is not. So Candy Cummings, come on, 21 and 22 in 2 seasons. That is not Hall of Fame worthy. Curveball or not, somebody else would have invented the curveball if he didn't. So that's not a solid argument for me. Goodbye, Candy Cummings.
I saw that too.
What do you got, Tiger?
Well, they're not. Well, let's be glad that they don't choose Hall of Famers by their character, mostly by their play, because I think this was one of my honorable mentions because he's a dick. And they're not gonna take him out. They're not taking anybody out of the Hall of Fame, but he's one of the original inductees, one of the first group of 5, I believe. Babe Ruth, Honus Wagner, Walter Johnson, Christy Mathewson. He was a ferocious competitor. He was aggressive in every way, but he was the biggest effing racist of them all. And that's Ty Cobb. And you can't take him out of there, but it says here, his despicable personal conduct. Enough said. Ty Cobb, that's my number 2. because of his off-field character. Marty?
I completed.
Oh,
I
sorry.
think it's Webby.
All right.
Webby,
Webb?
I think. Yep. Mr.
Okay. I'm going to go with the things that I've read about this guy said that he did change the way that catchers played the game, and that he was one that made the pitchers and the team better because of the way he called the game. So he was like that field general we always talk about, Roger Bresnahan. But he played for 17 years and hit 26 homers and had 530 RBIs. His only major accomplishment, and this goes back to my argument, that he was on a team that won the World Series in 1905. He had below average stats across the board. His peers voted him in because he got into the Hall in 1945. So he's been there for a long time.
Wow.
So one of the things that the guy that's doing this analysis says, well, maybe he was one of the greatest catchers of his time because you only had so much time to look at it in 1945. But today he wouldn't be in your top 500 catchers. So this goes back to the idea that he was the greatest catcher of his era.
Yeah.
So that's all I can think of here is that he played with many different teams, but I think most people remember him as a New York Giant and a St. Louis Cardinal. So
And
he's my
but
number two
he
pick.
changed catching fundamentals.
I think so, Tara. I think we have this concept of calling a game, that the catcher's in charge. I think he was one of the first catchers that called the game. Basically, took the responsibility back from the management team and said, "I know what works. I know what the batters are looking for. I know I can get my guy through this game," and that took it off the plate of the manager. Because before they treated the catchers as, you're just the guy that catches the ball. You don't know anything else about what's going on in the game. And I think this guy broke the mold on that.
A significant point for Bresnahan is that he was the first one to wear shin guards.
Huh.
Yeah, it's true.
And he took a lot of crap for that too from the tough guy
Oh, I
players.
bet. Oh, I bet.
So I was reading about this. The first shin guards were pieces of wood,
Uh-huh.
Yep.
which made it difficult to go after a foul pop-up.
Splinter.
I thought you said splitter. No, splinter. You run around with two
All right.
bars on the front of your legs. See how you feel.
We are through the first 4 rounds. Again, you're watching us on micdup. Again, if you want to share with us, hit the mic at the bottom of the screen. You got 30-second countdown to leave us a question or comment about tonight's topic, which is the top 5 Hall of Famers that you would just as soon seen ejected from the Hall. You don't understand why they're in there. Some other shows on Mic'd Up right now. Yankees Coast to Coast is doing a show every day during the winter meetings to discuss all of the great moves and non-moves that the Yankees have made, which amounts to, I think, 0 at this point, right?
Every day? Every week?
day.
Every single day? What is
I think
this?
they're on right now. We can drop in and listen to them for a second.
What is
All right, that's how their show's going.
So
every day? What
I
is
think,
this? What is this? COVID?
I think Adam and Mike are saying, okay, we got the winter meetings from December 7th through the 10th. The Yankees will be making big trades and free agent signings every day, and they've done nothing. But in their defense, most other teams have done virtually nothing as well. I think the winter meetings are different than they used to be.
Yeah.
But they did a show a few hours before us. I'm not sure what they talked about. AJ Rovner
what show is
and
that? What
that's
show is
Yankees
that?
Coast to Coast.
Boo!
So tomorrow morning, AJ Rovner and Steve Shinamako will be doing another episode of the Rovner Report. They're going to talk Rangers, Mets, and Knicks. So tune in for that one. Oh yeah, and New York Giants as well.
We also have a live look in on that show too.
Well, I took a quick look at AJ and Steve's show for tomorrow, and Mike Miller has left them a bunch of questions and comments.
Mike Miller of Yankees Coast to Coast.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a lot of whining together there. So
Yeah.
So let's get to our final round here. Tara, start us off. Who is the number one guy that you would just as soon eject from the Hall of Fame?
Well, this goes back to the 20s and 30s. They're all good, great players, but they're good players. They're whelming. They're all of Frankie Frisch's friends. Did you guys look this one up?
No.
Frankie Frisch, the Fordham Flash?
He got all of his friends, all of his whelming friends, to become Hall of Famers. That was Freddie Lindstrom, Chick Haffrey, Jesse Haynes, George Kelly, Travis Jackson, and Dave Bancroft. They said, "Hey, I think all of our buddies should be in the Hall of Fame too." So the cronies voted them in, and they're all in it for just being whelming.
Yeah, good pick.
It's a whole group of guys that the Veterans Committee they bowled over the Veterans Committee and said, induct all these guys, and they did. All of his pals.
All right. Who's up next?
Robbie.
All right, I'm going to go with a guy who was generally well respected, liked by the fans, liked by the media, took time with kids to sign autographs and all of that. He had a 25-year career as a pitcher. But I think he's in the Hall of Fame because of longevity, and that's Jim Kitty Cott. Jim Cott was 283 and 237 for his career with a 3.45 ERA. Again, I mean, it's not really spectacular numbers. He had a lot of seasons of 14 and 12, so he always just barely won a couple more games than he lost every year. Nothing remarkable. I don't recall ever, my parents used to buy tickets for baseball games based on who was coming into town, and I don't remember my dad ever going, "Oh, we got to go. Jim Cott's pitching today."
He's a future Hall of Famer.
Yeah, we did that. Like Gaylord Perry was with the Indians. We had to go see Gaylord Perry pitch with the Indians and things like that. But never came up. No Jim Cott. He has a reputation, like I said, of being a really good guy. He was a great broadcaster. He's very insightful and not annoying. Unlike another guy that just got into the Ford C. Frick Hall of Fame for broadcasting yesterday. Rhymes with no luck.
Yeah.
This guy was far superior, could talk the game for the serious hardcore people, talk the game for the beginners and all of that. And that's great. But as a player, I mean, Jamie Moyer was 269 and 209, pitched 25 years, and Jim Cott was 283 and 237. So it just, again, I think he was good, but he was never great. And so he's my number one. Marty?
We mentioned this before, and I want to reiterate. My number one pick was just the right guy at the right time. And he had a couple of decent seasons, but he had some decent teams behind him. he started in 1965 in Kansas City, and his ERA for the first year was 4.26. Second season, 4.02. Then Charlie Finley moves the team to Oakland. I'm talking about Catfish Hunter.
Interesting.
And then Catfish goes in Oakland. When he gets to Oakland, his record was 13 and 17, 13 and 13. The ERA around 3. And then what happens? The 71, 72, 73. With the teammates behind him, all of a sudden, Catfish Hunter, one season started 40 games. He had a record 21 and 11, 21 and 7, 21 and 5 during those 3 seasons with the A's, 3 consecutive World Championships. Even the following year, he did pretty 25 and 12. And I think the real reason now that he was very good, and the reason they got him into the Hall of Fame, is because he was one of the first really big free agent signings that sent him to the Yankees with Steinbrenner. And of course, those teams were loaded too. So what happens in 75, he's 23 and 14, 76, 17 and 15, but 2 more World Series titles. That's a total of 5. He had 3 more seasons where he had 9 and 9, 12 and 6, and then 2 and 9. Was he a bad pitcher? No. But he had a hell of a supporting cast around him.
Yeah,
after his first 2 years, that shows he in Kansas City where he was barely hanging on. And I think that act of being the first big name player, because Jackson came right after him, the Yankees, and one of those Yankee championships. Call it luck, call it timing, call it a little East Coast bias, call it a little history that has got his name on it, and he's in the Hall of Fame. And I'm not quite sold on that. There's a hell of a lot better pitchers in there than Catfish Hunter. Cherry, what do you think?
I went already.
Oh, thanks.
All
Okay.
right.
All right,
Webby's
Webby. I'm
wrapping
sorry.
up.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was listening to what Tara said about the gang of Frankie Frisch's friends. So I did a little deep dive here as we were talking. I cannot believe these guys are in the Hall of Fame. I'm gonna take Freddie Lindstrom. He played for 13 seasons and retired at the age of 30. He had 103 homers and 779 RBIs. He never won a World Series and never played in an All-Star game.
Wow.
He was
Underwhelming.
He did hit 311 for his career. That's above average. But this is not a Hall of Fame player, not at all, not even close. So the story says that the infamous Veterans Committee is responsible for much of these. Lindstrom went in 1976, and the case made for him at the time was that he was a good defensive player. Now I'm looking back, and I think the Veterans Committee was anywhere between 7 and 13 people that would decide on the fate of a player. Well, it's a hell of a lot easier to get in on the Veterans Committee than it would be with the writers voting for you, where you have to get a certain percentage. Apparently, there is a certain percentage here, but all you have to do is sell your vote to 13 people and get 8,
10,
maybe
10,
9 of them
yeah.
to say yes, and your guy's in. This is a travesty. This is a very average player. and he's in there. And Tara mentioned the other ones that went in. I'm just learning this for the first time. This is something that should be looked at, and maybe these guys taken out of the hall, which is the focus of this show. It's not going to happen, but it probably should, because if you leave them in, everybody will compare their stats to these guys and say, "Look, he got in. Why can't I?"
Right.
So, okay.
And then
think we
they could extend the induction another year, because they'll still have room in the regular hall.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
take these 6 out. There'll be 6 spots available. Then they don't have to finish the warehouse.
That's right. Yeah.
Now,
Yeah,
There's
wait a
no room
minute.
for the warehouse anyway.
Wait a minute. But I got a vested interest in that warehouse. Come on. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
In this case,
All
it
right.
was a popularity contest that they won.
Did everybody give us their number one pick here?
Yes.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, Robbie. Looks like JC left us one, and we should discuss this after you play this.
I agree.
Hi guys, JC here. If Shoeless Joe Jackson is not in the Hall of Fame because of gambling, and Pete Rose is not because of gambling, then I don't believe Ty Cobb or Mickey Mantle should be in because of gambling and character.
Interesting. My take on this is, I think Shoeless Joe Jackson should be in the Hall of Fame because, from all accounts, he didn't completely understand what he was supposedly participating in. He apparently couldn't read, and wasn't a great communicator, and went along with his White Sox buddies because he thought that's what you do as a teammate. I'm not sure he understood the ramifications of what he was doing, and there's no evidence to suggest that he played poorly on purpose, while there is for some of his teammates. Pete Rose had a chance to atone for what he did and chose not to. Ty Cobb, as Tara pointed out, is not a good person. I'm not sure I've heard of any gambling ties that he had, but it wouldn't surprise me if there was. But you have to have the facts there. And Mickey Mantle worked for a casino. So did Willie Mays. They both worked for a casino. They were allowed to work for the casino for the longest time, and then they were told they couldn't anymore. So I'm not sure what JC's point is there. What do you guys got on this?
What is this? What's the term? Ignorance of the law is no excuse.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
so
that's what they tried to push on him. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
so
going-
that's about Joe Jackson. You're
About
talking about?
Joe Jackson. Yeah. And just don't. And then what did they receive? They received a lifetime ban.
Mhm.
Well, they're all gone now. So I mean, so we're now having to make some creative definition of the term lifetime. So I thought that's kind of was interesting.
Joe Jackson, Pete Rose, Ty Cobb, Mickey Mouse is gone.
Mickey Mantle, Mickey Way.
Oh boy!
Now I want to say for the record, I was listening very intently to everybody, and if
For once,
anybody brought up these two names, they were going to go on my a longtime enemies list. If either one of you said Abbott and Costello should not be in the Hall of Fame, you guys were going to be in big trouble. So you're lucky. I was watching.
They don't have a plaque, but they have a mini theater.
They're there. They're in the hall. They're in the hall.
Yeah, maybe this is another show, but this whole gambling thing is taken a twist since
Oh yeah,
the two recent guys from the Indians or the Guardians, excuse me, and then the today's starting lineup brought to you by DraftKings.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So this is a whole other show that we probably need to talk
yeah,
about.
yeah, that'd be a good one.
That
Yeah.
one could be a bit of a fire keg when we talked
It's
about that.
it's
Yeah.
an ethical. That's an ethical topic.
Yeah.
Hey, I wanted to get each of your thoughts about the Eras Committee voting in Kent and no one else. Is that the right thing?
I think so. I mean, if we're gonna, if everybody looks for a little bit of consistency, so if we're gonna go with these steroid guys,
The ban.
and continue and say no throughout their voting years, uh, I phrased that badly. Throughout the years where the writers vote, then they should be consistent in the veterans committees and say, no, we got to draw the line somewhere. And a lot of people could disagree, but I think that was the right choice. And I believe I was a homer and wanting to get Kent in. So as a Giants fan, I think it's terrific. And I like what you guys said earlier. He has some his
Character.
some of the greatest batting statistics of any second baseman. And there's some great second basemen, and I get a few of them made the list today in the Hall of Fame with much less in the way of offensive output. So I like it. I can live with what they came up with.
He was
All right.
surrounded. He was surrounded by drama, also
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
in the dugout mostly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but
a
I-
lot of it was forced on him too. He
He-
wasn't the instigator of a lot of it.
No, he was a bit of a red ass for sure, but he played the game
Sure.
hard and he played the game right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
But you're
Yeah.
talking about Ramirez, McGuire, and Palmera, who admitted
Mhm.
PEDs.
Yeah.
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 Hey, it looks like
I
Marty
know.
might be in trouble here. Yeah,
somebody's ready to
play-
take issue.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Hey guys, great show. I just have one grievance with Marty.
Just
Clint
one.
Hurdle, when he was interviewed by Jim Darby, if you want to go ahead and listen to that broadcast, he referred to Catfish Hunter as the master of the art of pitching.
Oh.
Catfish was a magician, so I'm not so sure he should.
So the guy that runs
Okay.
mic'd up didn't know how to do a 30-second clip.
You got cut
So
off.
Marty, that was mic'd up CEO Jim DeVikis,
Terrific. Yeah.
and he obviously is a Catfish Hunter fan, but he is talking about Jim Darby show from a couple of months ago where Clint Hurdle was the guest.
Yeah. I
And
remember.
They were talking about some of the players that Clint looked up to, and Catfish was one of those.
Okay.
So
Although in
Yeah.
Marty's defense, if you remember in the baseball magazines and stuff, the Stratomatic ad every year would have a little write up. What would you do in this situation? Would you start this pitcher who's got a lot of strikeouts, or would you bring in Catfish Hunter who can throw a no hitter but can also give up a lot of gopher balls?
yeah, I get it.
I have
All
that
right,
ad
hey.
somewhere.
Well, it's
This-
one man's opinion.
This turned out to be a good topic,
Yeah.
and I agree with Robbie. Sometime soon we should talk about gambling in sports, not just baseball, but in sports, and the effect it may be having on the game now, and the fact that a lot of these administrations, baseball commissioner, football commissioner, they want to have it both ways. They want
Right.
to make money off the gambling, but they don't want their players to participate in that money. So kind of
Well,
weird.
then
Kind
you
of
need to bring in, the pool. You need to bring in the fantasy leagues, things like that.
Oh, yeah.
That's all money based.
Sure.
Yep, agreed. All right, hey, let's wrap things up here. We will do a show next Wednesday night at 6:00 on the
Pacific.
17th. Yeah, we will probably not do a show on Christmas Eve, and we are discussing whether we'll do one on New Year's Eve. But you'll see us next week.
If we do
thanks.
if you do the New Year's Eve show, we're gonna have a lot more almanac.
That's right. So thank you again to Almanac.
Yep.
And I'm going to retire this sour. This will be my last sour.
Go check out the brew
I
pub
got
on
plenty.
Alameda.
I can send some to you if you want to. Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna just play the theme song and do a mercy killing here.
Highlights from Lowlifes.